Fawziyah Javed. Fawziyah Javed was born to Yasmin and Mohammed Javed on the 4th of September 1989 in Leeds, England. Fawziyah was an only child and she grew up with a loving extended family. From a very young age, Fawziyah had wanted to become a solicitor. She completed her law degree at the University of Sheffield and started to practice in the city centre. In her spare time, Fawziyah would volunteer for local charities to support the local community. In August 2019, Fawziyah met Kashif Anwar, who was training to be an optometrist. They began a relationship and very early on, Kashif had told Fawziyah that she was the kind of wife that he wanted. Yasmin, Fawziyah's mum, started noticing aggressive and controlling behaviour, but Kashif would always apologise after his angry outbursts. The couple married on Christmas Day 2020. Kashif became more and more controlling and abusive. He would call Fawziyah names, swear at her, take her money, and be physically abusive. On one occasion, Kashif pushed Fawziyah in a cemetery and knocked her unconscious. On another occasion, Kashif put a pillow over Fawziyah's face, held it down, and then punched the pillow. Fawziyah tried to leave multiple times, but he would always convince her to return. Fawziyah made reports to the police, but as with many survivors, she chose not to press charges in order to prevent escalation of the abuse. Fawziyah consulted a solicitor about getting a divorce after finding out that she was pregnant. She wanted to raise her child in a safe and supportive environment. Fawziyah began to record conversations with Kashif, where he would call her names, threaten her, and tell her to obey her husband and stop acting like a British woman. "This isn't going to end well for you," he'd say. Fawziyah travelled to Edinburgh with Kashif. She had planned to leave safely upon her return just before her 32nd birthday. Fawziyah kept in touch with her mum whilst she was away. On the 2nd of September 2021, she messaged her mum to say that she was going for a walk after she's had her dinner. Kashif had taken Fawziyah to see the sunset on Arthur's Seat, an extinct volcano with an elevation of 823 feet. They made the climb to its peak, but missed the sunset. On their descent, Fawziyah fell off the cliff edge. Kashif had Fawziyah's phone in his pocket. He did not call the emergency services. He climbed down the lift, and when he bumped into strangers, he asked them to call 999. Kashif claimed that he was unable to get to his dying wife because he was slipping, but a passerby with the same kind of shoes managed to get straight to her. As Fawziyah lay dying, with a visible head injury, she told the people around her, "Don't let my husband near me. He pushed me. Why is he like this?" During court proceedings, it was found that Kashif had accidentally called Fawziyah's father and hung up before he could answer. He then called his own father. The call lasted for about a minute. Kashif then hung up the phone and put it back in his pocket. He did not call for help, and he did not mention this to the police. Fawziyah's family testified against Kashif. Yasmin, Fawziyah's mum, described him as evil, jealous, and insecure. He didn't like the fact that Fawziyah had her own voice, her own opinions. He didn't like that, she said. Kashif did not take the stand. In March 2023, the jury at the High Court in Edinburgh rejected the defence and found him guilty of murdering Fawziyah Javed, who was 17 weeks pregnant and causing the death of her unborn child. He was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 20 years. Judge Lord Beckett told him that his wife had been entitled to his protection and that he was guilty of a wicked crime. He said, "You showed no remorse and made no attempt to save her." Fawziyah was described as a perfect daughter, granddaughter, niece, and friend, a successful lawyer who had her whole life ahead of her.